Hello, distinguished friends and colleagues. My name is Stuart Hamilton. I'm the Pro-Life Activities Coordinator for the Archdiocese of Louisville, Kentucky, serving under Deacon Stephen Bowling. And this is 5 Minutes for Life, where we discuss one topic, one ministry, or one event that affects the pro-life movement here in the Archdiocese of Louisville. This is a very special episode, and I apologize in advance because I'm probably going to go over 5 minutes. We're actually going to be discussing an international incident, and I'm speaking, of course, of the unrest that is currently happening in Israel. It has become probably, if you don't pay attention to it, a consistent reality that there's unrest in Israel. But what is currently happening is categorically different than the things that have happened in the past decades. And I'd like to, one, explain that a little bit, give you a little bit of context, but also talk a little bit about what our response as pro-life Christians should be to the incident. Now, disclaimer, there is no way in 5 minutes or an hour that I'm going to be able to give you a suitable history for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So I'm going to put a link to another video in the description of this video. So if you want a more complete history and overview of the conflict, you can. Here I'll give you a little bit so you can understand the current situation. First of all, you have to understand that Palestinian Arabs within Israel's borders maintain that Israel doesn't have an appropriate claim to the land of Israel. And they have been in a long and bloody conflict with Jewish Israelis over portions of the land in Israel. Now, the current conflict for me goes back to 2007. I was actually in Israel on a pilgrimage in 2007. And at that time, Israel had, in order to establish peace, given a swath of land over to the Palestinian Arabs in the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is a strip of land that rests on the Mediterranean Sea, and it's in the south of Israel. Well, in 2007, Israel pulled back troops and gave a swath of land to the Palestinian Arabs and said, "It's yours." But part of the concession was that Israel, in order to defend itself from further bloody conflict, built a huge wall completely surrounding the Gaza Strip. Now, this wall is not without controversy. It means that Palestinians can only exit the Gaza Strip through Israeli checkpoints. It also means that all water and electricity flows from Israel, the Jewish-controlled area of Israel, into the Gaza Strip, which gives them complete control of shutting those things out. Now, Israel explained this controversial move to the world by saying we must defend ourselves because there's just too much of a history of bloody conflict between ourselves and the Palestinian Arabs in the Gaza Strip. But moreover, the Palestinian Arabs had just been taken over by an organization called Hamas, which has been identified both by the U.S. and the UN as a terrorist organization. Now, this was in 2007 when I was there. Hamas has retained control of the Gaza Strip and the Palestinian Arabs in the Gaza Strip since 2007. And true to form, they have several times over the last decade or so shot rockets from the Gaza Strip into Israel. Now, Israel has responded in kind, but unfortunately, Hamas has a habit of protecting their military targets with civilians. And although there are some very public methodologies, steps Israel took to try to warn civilians to get out of the areas they were bombing, the unfortunate reality is there have been casualties on both sides that are civilian casualties. Now that gives you a sort of context to where we are today. October 7th, something categorically different happened. Hamas, and we still don't know how, destroyed huge portions of the wall around the Gaza Strip and invaded southern Israel. They came in with tanks and about 1,000 troops or so, and they targeted specifically a civilian population of Jews. We're talking about whole families that were slaughtered, children that were burned alive, mutilated, and kidnapped, elderly that were brutally murdered, all on camera, mass rapings. The Hamas recorded these atrocities and actually put it on social media in order to celebrate what they had done with other extremists around the world. Quickly, the Israelis pushed Hamas back out of their border, but not before 1,300 Jews had lost their lives, and a few hundred more were taken captive and actually taken back across the border into the Gaza Strip. On October 8th, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared war on Hamas, not on the Palestinian people. You must understand, Hamas took control of the Palestinian Arab population by force. And not everything Hamas does is representative of the people that they control. There are still innocent people in the Gaza Strip, people who don't want anything to do with this conflict. But the unfortunate reality is they are now caught in this conflict. Immediately, the Israelis cut off all electricity and water going into the Gaza Strip. And that means innocent people, people who are women and children, don't have water, don't have electricity, and cannot escape what's coming next. There was a barrage of bombings on known military targets, and as I said earlier, Hamas has protected those military targets with civilians. There is currently a lot of innocent blood being spilled by the Israelis, and what will be inevitably a precursor to a ground incursion. Now, Pope Francis, as well as Archbishop Shelton Fabre, have prayed for the Israeli people who lost so much life, 1,300. And a population the size of Israel, that means virtually no one in Israel doesn't know someone who wasn't raped or killed or lost a child or a grandparent. It is an atrocity that beggars anything in living memory. So Archbishop Fabre and then Pope Francis have called for prayer for Israel, but also prayer for peace. All eyes are on Israel. When they go into the Gaza Strip, will they treat the Palestinian Arabs with some form of restraint, or will they enact revenge for the horrific acts that have been done to them? At this point, it's anyone's guess, because Israel's going to do what Israel's going to do, and no one's going to stop them. So right now, we need to pray. As pro-life Christians, we have been called to pray. Archbishop Fabre have actually asked churches in the local areas to have prayer sessions for peace in Israel. One such session is at 7 p.m. at St. Louis Bertrand. That's the one I'm attending. I'm inviting you to attend. Please pray. Pray for the people who are mourning in Israel and Palestine. Pray for a tempered response to the atrocity that have happened to the Jewish people. I was there in 2007 and I met Palestinian Christians that do not agree with Hamas. I met Israeli Christians that don't necessarily agree with Israel's policies towards the Palestinians. There are innocent people who have died and more that could die. So we must pray for this if we're pro-life Christians. I'm well over my limit, so I'll just say every human life is worth praying for, because every human life has dignity in the eyes of God. If you like what I'm doing here, please smash the like button. Please share this video with others and hit the notification bell to know when there's new material coming out from me. God bless. I'll see you here next week.